when you're speaking with another agency or another organization, it's really, you do a lot of listening. You do a lot of figuring out, what's important to them and why, and how does their reality, or what does their map look like, and how does it connect to us and what we do, and how do they imagine that could look. And I think there's a lot of my experience with those types of relationships is this just such a need for a great deal of listening. Yeah.
And by listening, how does that affect how the other party responds?
I think there's a sense or an understanding that what they need and what's important to them matters, and that you guys will work together for the best interest of everybody, not just me coming with my agenda. Oh, I believe in RJ, that is true.
Yeah.
That's a fact, but I also have to be open to and work within an adversarial criminal justice system.
Yeah.
And if I go in there guns blazing, RJ's the only way, and I just want to talk about what's important to me, I lose my credibility and those relationships are damaged. And these other people in these other environments have needs and beliefs that are also relevant, and it's just about finding ways to work together and collaborate. And I think our relationship that we've developed with the Victoria Crown Council is a good example of that, because we've been so open to listening to both sides and trying to meet each other's needs on both sides, instead of going, this could never work. An adversarial system and a relational system, they're too different, they could never work, which I think is what often happens. We've thought, let's be creative and think about how could these two things work together. And what we've done is we've sort of hybridized restorative justice and criminal justice. Yeah. And we use the two. Usually what happens in a serious crime case, if restorative justice is used, it's done in what's called a parallel stream. So the criminal justice system is doing its thing here, court, sentencing, blah, blah, blah. Restorative justice is doing its thing here. Yeah. Those two worlds never interact. Yeah. They're not working together. But we're working together. So what ends up happening is, typically how it looks is, prior, the offense takes place, of course the offender needs to acknowledge guilt, that they need to take responsibility for their actions. That's step one in restorative justice regardless. But then before the sentencing occurs, the court allows us time to come in and work with the family and the people impacted to create some sort of agreement, and then that agreement is either accepted fully as the sentence, or there would be a sentence that's rendered in lieu of, in addition to the restorative justice agreement. So it's like, you can, if you are creative and open-minded, you can find ways to make things that you think are like oil and water work together